G'day ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Aussie Starcraft. We've been bringing you some of the amazing games that took place in the Dreamhack Winter tournament just the other week. Now we've been following the trail of our blue Protoss player Patience, a relative unknown that has made his way through to this tournament, playing for Team Azubu. Patience has just been absolutely incredible, fighting through an incredibly tough group stage and managing to make his way into the winners bracket, only to meet MMA and be knocked out of the winners bracket down to the losers. But as we saw in our recent series of game, it did manage to punish MMA quite heavily in his series in the losers bracket and managed to fight his way through. So having defeated Ace's MMA, he's now up against another incredibly tough Terran opponent. Our red Terran in the bottom left hand corner is Ace's Innovation, and I think everyone's familiar with Innovation. If you watched the WCS at all in 2013, you would be familiar with Innovation. He's incredibly successful, led the scoreboard on WCS points for almost the entire year. Certainly had a lot more success at the start of the year, but very consistently good performance throughout the year. So Innovation, a fantastic Terran player, but Patience showing us that his Protoss versus Terran is quite up to par. Going for his gas now. He's going to have enough gas here to be able to produce his mothership in short order. Patience has shown us big fan of using that mothership core, and not afraid to use that those early Protoss plays, things like the early 2-base Blink Stalker play. We saw him use that to great effect last game against MMA, and yeah, just phenomenal play out of Patience in this tournament in general. So I thought we would cast some more Patience games. Didn't want to miss out on showing you just some of the awesome play that we've seen out of him in the tournament. So really looking forward to what Patience shows us in 2014. He sort of burst onto the scene fairly late in 2013, and really looking forward to having another talented Protoss player in the mix in 2014. Patience here actually going for his Nexus quite quickly. Likewise, Innovation deciding to go drop his barracks, get a Reaper in play, and then pull his workers once his reactor was going. So Innovation going for a fairly mineral heavy opening himself, and Patience mothership cores out in play just in time to deter this early Reaper that's trying to make his way around and scout as best he can. Wants to see if there's any gateways hidden behind the mineral line. In fact, finds out that's not the case. But Patience trying to shepherd these workers and ensure that Innovation can't get any cheap kills. These Reapers do plenty of damage, just indirect damage as they harass your mineral line. Patience definitely trying to ensure that it doesn't do any direct damage by mopping up workers as well. So first Stalker on the way now. Let's see if Patience decides to produce anything beyond this, or is just going to use these Stalkers as he did in the previous game to try and shield his tech from prying Reaper eyes. So we see Patience. You can see how practice this map, continually using his patterns almost exactly the same as versus MMA, putting the mothership core on patrol at the natural while he has two Stalkers patrolling the main base, trying to keep any tech choices hidden. And it was this very opening against MMA that caused MMA so many problems. Twilight Council forced a couple of scans because the Reaper couldn't make his way in, and when MMA thought he went Dark Templar, a subsequent scan picked up the blink, but not quite in time for the massive 6-gate blink Stalker all in that he executed quite impressively. So Innovation choosing to get quite aggressive with his opening Marines. We have quite a lot of Marines on the way at the moment. We have Stimpack also underway, probably about a minute and a half from completion, and Patience should be facing some early pressure here from Innovation in just a moment. Up to 8 Marines. Patience, unfortunately, with his Stalkers in position to deter this Reaper, isn't doing what we saw him do so well. And oh, nice, picks up that Reaper quite quickly. Isn't able to do what we saw him do quite effectively in the early Acheron Waste game against MMA, where he had his Stalkers positioned quite aggressively to try and deter any early Marine aggression. Innovation just constantly producing here, starting to get a few Marauders out. Stimpack just under a minute now to completion. Quite a lot of Marines and Marauders out in play already. Following this blink play up with a Robo now, so a little bit of variation from the game where he versed MMA. He's obviously not going for the same degree of all-in that we saw out of him previously. Moving out now with his Stalkers to try and prevent these Terran units from doing too much damage. But needs to be mindful of that Stimpack almost completed here. If he's not careful, he could in fact face fairly substantial damage. You'll see Innovation being very cautious here, throwing down more bunkers. Innovation obviously very concerned that he's up against the same sort of Blink Stalker all-in that MMA just lost to in their series before this. Innovation going to scout out of his factory now. You have some medevacs also on the way now for Innovation. Innovation very cautiously trying to drop as many bunkers as he can. We in fact have 4 bunkers on the way, and a 4th bunker up in this location. This map obviously we've seen it exploited by siege tanks substantially, but Innovation deciding to try and insulate against the Blink Stalker play. Patience obviously very much favouring the Blink Stalker play on this map, and you can see why. Innovation, now that Stimpack's finished, going to salvage those extra bunkers and try and put some pressure on Patience. And we can see 1-1 upgrades on the way. We can see that Patience not all-inning by any means. There's actually quite a substantial follow-up to this. We have Colossi that'll be on the way momentarily, along with 3 more gateways, and quite a different timing to what we saw against MMA in the previous series. This observer here going to keep an eye on these units. Nice micro there will save the Stalkers. Going to back out, though. Though Patience does need to be very careful. Innovation Stim could well pick him off, and Combat Shields now following this up. And Patience trying to warp in some additional defense at home, some Zealots and Sentries, going to be in a good position to try and defend against this play. And we can see that some of these medevacs already taken substantial damage, so if Innovation's not careful, that medevac quite vulnerable to being picked off. Big stim forward from part of this force. Patience going to force you at half the ramp, trying to bait Innovation in. Innovation is going to commit to this. So we have Photon Overcharge going down now. Nexus already picking off 2 Marines. Innovation's got to be very careful here that he doesn't allow his army to be cut in half. Going to muscle his way through. Again, some nice force fields using the pylon here. Colossi coming in from the high ground, though big stim forward from Innovation's actually going to pick off this Colossus, but that's going to allow the Stalkers to pick off several of these medevacs and force the remaining bio units out of play. So that's one of those rare instances where you see the Colossus snipe, but the remainder of the ground units able to clean up there. The Nexus itself getting quite a bit of damage on that force. Photon Overcharge there, very crucial to holding that off. Innovation. We've seen a lot of PvT recently, actually very used to casting MMA versus Patience. Innovation, throwing down his 3rd base, but we have Patience here actually sniping that SCV. That's going to delay this base for just a few moments while Innovation pulls another SCV to finish off that command center. Patience throwing down a 3rd base of his own, and following up with a 2nd Colossus. So we can see Innovation is starting to prepare for this, trying to produce a few Vikings. Now that he's got a decent medevac count up, we can see quite a nice vision for Patience here. We can see proxy pylons established around the perimeter of the map, as well as watchtower control. This is something we've consistently seen from Patience in his game series. Excellent line of sight. Innovation really going to struggle to try and do any sort of medevac play, as Patience going to see that coming a long way out. I really like Patience Protoss playstyle. As a Protoss player myself, I do enjoy seeing it executed with such precision. Something that I think I want to try and implement in my games. Obviously, Patience been practicing very heavy on these maps. You can see a complete line of sight across the map. You can see this army moving out here. Big scan. You can see where Patience is positioned. Patience going to Innovation actually picking up for a drop here, but will he sneak in just behind this observer? I think Patience has seen the drop moving out. Innovation may actually manage to creep just in behind the observer, and Innovation's main force pulling back, but a big drop in the main base of Colossus is here in play. Big warp in of Zealots is going to allow Patience to defend this quite readily. A few Stalkers as well are going to force those away, and the pylon will be able to pick up the vision. So he sees them coming back in. Innovation actually seems to be trying to drop on top of these forces, but substantial amount of Stalkers makes that a very unfavourable engagement for Innovation. Innovation trying to force the third base while Patience is still in position here. So unfortunately, if we check the units lost tab, that was a substantially one-sided engagement, with Patience there able to pick off another medevac as well. So 6,000 resources lost to 3,500. Patience showing he's in fine form in this tournament. Patience now consolidating his forces here, and he's able to force his way up the ramp. There's not a whole lot of medevacs here, many of them being caught off. This second Colossus probably would have been more use in the engagement, but Patience can smell the blood in the water. Is Zealots here going to be doing a lot of damage to this SCV line? Innovation going to wrap around and kill quite a lot of these Stalkers and Sentries, but Patience are able to do critical damage to the economy of Innovation. So Innovation down to 53 workers to Patience 68, so quite a substantial difference here for our players, and Innovation's left in quite a difficult position. As you can see, Innovation being forced to reproduce medevacs here when he would so dearly like to be producing Vikings. Only got one Viking on the field, and that's wholly due to Patience's ability to snipe the medevacs in the earlier engagement. Innovation threw away 3 of those carelessly, and now unfortunately can't engage because of the substantial Blinkstalker count. The Blinkstalkers having picked off many of the medevacs means that Innovation has had to take a break from producing Vikings and had to reproduce quite a number of his medevacs. So Patience here able to macro up behind this, throwing down a lot more gateways to reinforce, and this Protoss army is managing to muscle its way down, almost getting sandwiched between the third base and natural. These are Colossi moving forward, moving back out of range. Innovation starting to produce 4 Vikings at a time. Patience really wants to take this window of opportunity and really capitalise on the fact that there aren't many Vikings in play yet. These 4 Colossi are doing massive damage with each of their attacks here. We can see so many Terran units taking damage here from the 4 Colossus. 4 Colossus up to 15 kills, 16 kills respectively. These Stalkers on the ground doing a lot of damage here, picking off these missile turrets so that the Colossi can continue to move forward. Some more Vikings now in play, but these Stalkers and Archon going to continue protecting the Colossus. Colossi on 8 kills and 9 kills respectively. Our veteran Colossus did go down, but this third base cleaned up so quickly. We take a look at the upgrades. We can see there's 2-2 upgrades for both our players. The upgrades fairly even, but unfortunately Innovation just is at a continual composition deficit as Patience continually picks away the crucial units that Innovation needs to hold off the base. We actually have High Templar here feedbacking the medevacs, so Bioforce not being cost efficient at all, as the medevacs unfortunately unable to do anything for this stemmed up bio. This Colossus continuing to wreak havoc. Archon's here in the mix as well, and we see just excellent Terran versus Protoss versus Terran goodness out of Patience. So what a win out of Patience, able to topple MMA and then Innovation, some of the best Terran players in the world. So just to continue the roll call, I guess, as the players that Patience has toppled in this tournament. Early in the group stage was able to topple players like Hyun and Lucifron, only losing to TLO in the group stage, but then coming through and able to dominate MMA, and now Innovation to progress his way through the brackets in the losers stage. So Patience just having a phenomenal run here, and really looking forward to what he's got for us in game 2. Will Innovation be able to equalise, or will Patience be able to just continue this dominant streak that we've seen from him? We'll find out in game number 2. Tune in then, here at Aussie Starcraft.